What is up, guys? It is AJ from MMA Experts, and this is the UFC Fight Island Kattar versus Ige post-fight show and results. So Calvin Kattar gets it done. Fairly dominant unanimous decision against a really tough in-game Dan Ige, who showed a lot of skill. Look at the scorecards there, 49-46, 49-46, 48-47. I thought it was probably more like 49-46, but I guess I can understand the 48-47. There were definitely moments for Dan Ige, but the right guy won, and that's what it's all about. Ige, a lot of potential, possibly future title challenger in the next year or so. Could be his next fight. Who knows what's going on with the champion? Who knows who's available? So there's a lot of factors. Now, Ige also still top 15. I think he still keeps a top 15 bout in his next one. I don't think they push him outside of it in terms of an opponent. I don't know exactly who they put him up in there against. Maybe somebody like, I don't know. I want to say there's so many options. I was going to say Edson Barboza rematch, but realistically, I don't know if I see that rematch. If I pull up the rankings just real quick for you guys at featherweight, if they can load up here. Sorry about this, guys. So, honestly, it could be Jeremy Stevens even, just, as a fun fight. Somebody like Cub Swanson. I think Cub Swanson, the name was on the tip of my tongue. I think Cub Swanson might be the most realistic next matchup for him. Now, next fight, co-main event, Tim Elliott. Tricky fight. Defeats Ryan Benoit. Could have gone either way. Some people maybe felt it went to Benoit, but it was good. Elliott got what he deserved. He got a win. Good for him. I always think he's a staple guy at 125. Excuse me. Don't know if he's ever going to challenge for a world title again or anything like that, but he'll be around. He'll be fighting fights and maybe winning someone's too, and maybe fighting in the top 15 again. Jimmy Rivera. Good performance, a lot of potential. Defeats Cody Stamann. I think that he's getting close to maybe getting back in the mix for a title if he wins another one, because I think 2 straight it will set him up nicely. That division's stacked as hell though, so it's a lot of scary opponents. Next fight for him could maybe be against Sandhagen, which is a scary fight for anybody. But I think it would be a good one, and I think Rivera would definitely be down because he's a very game fighter, having fought Jan, having fought Aljamain Sterling, and having also fought Marlon Moraes. So he's the real deal. He's a guy that comes to fight and he doesn't play around, and he's given tough fights to Jan and even Aljamain, who was a competitive enough matchup. For the next fight, Talia Santos defeats Molly McCann. Decision kind of as expected in terms of result, but I did think Molly would do a bit better. I thought that she maybe would win it, to be honest with you, but Santos gets it done. Congratulations to her. She did have a substantial reach advantage, which definitely made a difference here. Next, Munir Laziz and Abdul Razak Al Hassan. That's not the result I really expected. I expected a knockout win for Al Hassan, but Laziz is game and he's skilled. He calls out Mike Perry after. He could get it. I wouldn't be that surprised if he got it, but we'll see what the UFC wants to do with him. For Al Hassan, tough defeat here. He was definitely surging towards, the top 15, top 10. Now we'll need a step back and need another win. I definitely think he can do it, though. He's a skilled fighter. I think he just needs to stop headhunting so much. He really does not throw body shots enough, and he was starting to a bit in the second round, but I feel like if he would start with a body attack as he throws those swarming flurries, it's going to open shit up on the head, and he's going to be able to get some more knockout wins, which he already has, but even better ones. And Laziz got a solid chin, though, so got to give respect and credit where it's due. Let's go down to the prelims. Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, looked like a future world title challenger against John Phillips. He's a 170-pounder. He fought at middleweight 185, and he dominated. He looked absolutely dominant. Very impressed by Khamzat. I see a lot of potential in a very big future. Lerone Murphy defeats Ricardo Ramos. Murphy's good. I thought Ramos was the better fighter, but at the end of the day, it's not how it went down. Lerone Murphy beat his face in and pulled off a brutal TKO on the ground. I think Ramos still has potential in his career. He just needs to, get his IQ a bit better in terms of fighting, because he does make silly mistakes. Not that Lerone wouldn't have beat him either way, but just something that I noticed and something that I wanted to say. I think Lerone definitely has some potential, and there's going to be big fights coming. Off the top of my head, the next opponent for him I can't think of. I have the specific videos down, and I do have them all there, written for who they should fight next. But I'm excited to see both these fighters' progression over the next few years, as they're both young, up-and-coming prospects. Modesta Modestas Bokacas defeats Andreas Machalidas. Good performance for Modestas. He did exactly what he had to. The referee stoppage, some people will say, was a little bit BSy. They say, oh, he was, hurt, and then the cage door was open at the end of the round. I'll explain the situation a little better than that. It sounds a little bit confusing when I say it like that. So there was elbows landing as Andreas was going for a takedown against the cage. The round ends, and these elbows really hit him. He was stunned from it. He goes down. He's going like this. Maybe he's trying to play it off like, oh, I got hit in the back of the head, which they were on the side of the head. It wasn't the mohawk area, so they are legal. And then the referee says, hey, show me something, get up. The cage door is open. He goes to lean back, and then he falls through the cage. The ref immediately stops it. But he didn't see that cage there, the cage door open, excuse me. He thought there was a cage there. So I totally understand why he fell. Anybody would have fell. Now, do I think that he was probably finished? I do. I think he was pretty hurt, and I think that might have been the right call, but not off him falling through the cage, but rather it's just he couldn't continue. Because if he was fine and then would have fell through the cage, I feel like there'd be a lot more controversy. But I do think he was pretty hurt and probably didn't want to continue much longer. But both fighters are good, but I'm definitely impressed by Modestas at 185 pounds. Could be somebody to watch. Could be a future contender. Jared Gordon defeats Chris Fishgold. Dominant performance. I predicted a decision win. I did not think it would be this dominant. It was very one-sided. And good performance for Jared Gordon. He had some knockout losses, and he's bounced back from them, and we'll see how high his ceiling is at featherweight. For Fishgold, he'll be back again. I definitely think they'll give him another fight. Maybe a striker to keep it on the feet. But I know he likes to wrestle a bit too. But here, it was just a one-sided beating. And not just a one-sided beating, one-sided domination by a fighter who just had a bit more tools than him. Liana Jojo defeats Diana Belbita. I thought Diana was going to actually win that fight, but the ground game. I did say something, if Liana gets her down, that's risky. And she did, and she gets a quick submission. Congratulations to Liana. If you go down to Jack Shore, Aaron Phillips, this was an important fight to watch because Jack Shore is a guy with a lot of potential. Former Cage Warriors champion. Could be a future title challenger at bantamweight. Aaron Phillips, really tough kid with good jiu-jitsu, but at the end of the day, Shore was just way too much for him. I think there showed to be a substantial level gap between the two guys, and we'll see where Shore's ceiling is. It could be pretty high. He could be a future world title challenger. I'm seeing right now just from my top 15, but at the end of the day, we'll see how much potential progress is made over these next couple years. For Aaron Phillips, though, I do think he sticks around. I do think he'll eventually win a fight in the UFC. He just needs to get better matchups. He's been fighting some tough guys when he started in the UFC several years back, and then coming back fighting Jack Shore is never an easy out. But all right, guys, that was pretty much my whole video there, the post-fight show. I'd say this overall was a fun card, and I really think there are some prospects to watch out for. I mentioned a few in my pre-fight show. For me, Khamzat Chimaev, I thought that he looked very scary and like a championship potential fighter just watching footage. Seeing him fight live, I saw it even more. I am really on the hype train of this guy. I see a ton of potential. On the card, though, I think Jack Shore definitely could be a top 15 guy. I think Modestas has potential, too. We'll see how he does. His next fight, I'm going to need to see a little more out of him, but I did get to see an idea of how he fights and, one round out of him. Lerone, good. I think Ramos still has a lot of potential. I think Ramos just needs to get his fight IQ higher. Let's jump over here real quick. Calvin Kattar, possible future title challenger. Dan Ige, definitely a top 10 guy. Elliott, OG fighter. Benoit, he can't put them together against the best of the best. It's kind of as expected. I think Rivera is there in terms of title contention, 100%. Stamon's a good fighter. And Munir Laziz showed that he might be a game top 15 fighter. I really do think. And Al Hassan, really strong puncher, but a bit one-dimensional. Needs to work on his overall skill set and mixing it up a bit more. But I'll leave you with one more thing. I'm going to say it one last time so you guys can remember the name of Khamzat Chimaev. Please remember this guy's name. I see so much potential in him. I'm going on the hype train. I'm jumping on it. And if I crash, I crash. But at the end of the day, I'm seeing championship potential. That was a 185-pound bout, and he absolutely manhandles his opponent, and he naturally fights at 170. I believe these guys are going to have a very tough out against a 6'2" welterweight with elite-level grappling skills. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video.